Okay, welcome into Collect TV. I'm Megan Payton, now joined with Ken Casey, the lead singer of Dropkick Murphys. Ken, you've been a Massachusetts guy your entire life. So I want to start by knowing your personal connection with Boston sports teams. What's it been like over the years?
Oh man, like most families here, you're brought into it young, force fed your Boston sports allegiances, and you better like that team and not stray. My grandfather mostly is one that was introducing me to sports, and he was actually friends with Johnny Pesky, and he knew all the like detail cops that were always working the game. So like my earliest memories of going to Fenway were probably 5, 6 years old, and we'd wait after everyone left, and I'd get to go out onto the outfield and like dive on the grass and pretend I was Fred Lynn and stuff. And I don't think I realized how cool an opportunity that was. I thought every kid got to do it. So that was really cool. And then you fast forward all the years later and our own involvement with the team, and when we got to be playing, at most of the World Series games, but in particular 2013 when they won at home for the first time, and having my kids with me and they're getting to run the bases after winning a World Series and slide into home plate. It was like a full circle moment for me. And I was shaking them, saying, I hope you understand how insanely awesome this is. I think they did. Maybe they
Yeah.
won't know until someday they're shaking their own kids, saying, do you know how cool that was?
They're like, Grandpa, come on, you gotta help me out for my kids now because we got to do it, you got to do it. And
Exactly.
and it really is pretty cool. So let's talk 2004 World Series. Obviously, Tessie became a massive anthem, maybe the most iconic playoff run in baseball history. What was it like for you seeing how much that song resonated with the Sox fans?
It was awesome. I mean, I stuck my neck out with that, like talking trash like I tend to do. We debuted the song on the field at Fenway on July 24th. And on July 23rd, I predicted in the Herald that I guaranteed that song would bring the Red Sox the first World Series in 86 years. So, and a lot of people remem reminded me of that statement when we were down to our final out in game four against the Yankees at home. I was getting threats from my own friends. Don't ever get involved with another Boston sports team again. But we debuted the song and had made those claims, and here we were, the very first game, getting killed, the Yankees Red Sox, and then there was the famous fight with Veritek and A-Rod and the bench clearing brawl, and then the Red Sox have an epic comeback capped by a Bill Miller walk-off home run, and the rest was history. And thank God for the Dave Roberts steal. And it was just such amazing year for Boston sports and everything. But for the band to be that deeply ingrained in it was like an amazing ride to be on. And um, you know, I was on the field in St. Louis and got to call my 86-year-old grandfather who had waited
Oh,
his whole life for that moment. So I think that's what made that year such a almost spiritual year, because of that family connection and the generations that had been waiting and watching games together and just waiting. So, nothing will ever top the experience of 2004.
you guys were so intertwined with the team. Was it kind of wild seeing the band blow up right as the Sox were finally winning again?
You know, there was there was the best a cartoonist did a great cartoon of what was obviously supposed to be me, but it was in a kilt, saying when Sean Casey came to the Red Sox and saying, "Hey, welcome to the team," as if like we thought we were on the team, which in a way we kind of did think we were on the team. And it was cool to be that like I said, intertwined in all the years. We never got involved with playing on the field or anything other than 2004, 2007, 2013, and we were scheduled to play game six of 2018, but they won it in LA. And I was at the game in LA, so I was kind of like, I really want to go back and play game six, but I really would love to wrap it up here in LA. So it all worked out.
But you know what's great is the involvement you guys still have. And July 11th against the Rays at home, you guys are doing the bobblehead promotion. And at Collect, we ranked the Bagpiper bobblehead as the best promotion in the MLB this season. So
Yeah, I
I just
saw
want to know the
that.
background. How did this project actually come about?
Um, I think the Red Sox were just kind of trying to be nice and acknowledge our involvement with the team over the years. And, they said, we just want to have a night where you guys can be acknowledged and enjoy yourselves. They said, You're welcome to play if you want, did the anthem or something." I said, no, we'd rather just come and enjoy the game. I kind of personally feel like our era with the team was back then, and
Yeah.
we have quite a good streak going, and I'd rather just kind of leave that. And and even if you're just doing the anthem, it's still like, I don't know, you can't really enjoy the game because you're like,
Yeah.
you get the nerves, so it'd be nice to be able to come have, raise money for our charity foundation, enjoy the game with family and friends, and just kind of look back over our, history with the Red Sox and how cool it's been, to be raised as a Red Sox fan throughout like the Yawkey era and all that, like they wouldn't have had a rock band involved with the team ever, you know what I mean? So like to to grow up and then as an adult be involved with the team, it just seemed like beyond your wildest dreams, like it would literally never happen. So for it to have happened is definitely something that is a big like feather in the cap of our career.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, some of the proceeds from this promotion are going to be going to your charity, the Cllct Fund. So tell us about the charity and the causes that you guys are going to be supporting here.
Sure. The Cllct Fund is the band's official charity. We get the name stemming from the Cllct ring, the Irish ring, which symbolizes friendship, love, and loyalty. And we thought that that was just such a great symbols for a charity foundation trying to help people. We raise money to help people get treatment for alcohol and substance abuse. We also support underfunded veterans and children's programming in the Boston area. And ironically, when we very first started the charity, our very first event for the charity was at Fenway when
Oh,
the first NHL Winter Classic was there, and they put up the rink at Fenway for the first time, which it's always a big deal. But the first time they put ice in Fenway, it was a big deal. And the Red Sox were kind enough to give us an hour of ice time where we could do a family skate and invite people to skate on the ice, and obviously for a donation to the charity. And that was, I don't, God, 2010, 11, something like that. And, here we are, decade and a half later and millions of dollars raised, and back at the Red Sox, back at Fenway again, so all roads always lead to Fenway.
that's so good. Ken, in an interview this spring, I thought this was really cool. You said that you want to be remembered as a band that spoke out. So, what does that mean to you in terms of how it shows up in your music or the causes that you've supported throughout the years?
We've always been active in social justice causes and, speaking up on behalf of workers' rights and, inspired by, you know, the punk bands we grew up listening to and guys like Joe Strummer from The Clash, or protest music, or singers like Woody Guthrie, or, even the Irish music that we were big fans of. A lot of that was, even though it was to things that we weren't dealing with, but it was, protest music and speaking up. So we've always been proud of the fact that sometimes we've taken the road that's harder traveled, but our track record for 30 years is to speak up on behalf of regular people, and that's why our new album's called For the People, and it's kind of a double entendre of like we have the people's back, but also like musically too, we've also tried to like give our fans what they want. Sometimes bands will do like an about face halfway through their career, and we've like Dropkick Murphys is Dropkick Murphys, and we want to be like the AC/DC of punk rock, where you know what you're gonna get, and we're proud of our legacy and all those regards.
So your new album For the People, it is dropping. It is coming out July 4th. What are you hoping people most take away from this album?
Yeah, I hope they're inspired to be passionate about the causes that they're involved with in their life, and there's just don't take shit and be true to yourself. Sorry, I shouldn't have swore, but sometimes you got to swear.
Yeah, sometimes you have to. And you gotta just get it out there. So make sure everyone checks out For the People when it drops on Friday, July 4th. And then be at Fenway Park exactly 1 week later. I'm excited for this promo. It's the Bagpiper bobblehead. Ken, we really appreciate the time that you've given us. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the continued success.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.